All right. Hey everyone. If this is not testament to the power of God happening and at work in the summit, then I don't know what is. I I do apologize. I just want to take a moment to apologize to everybody that has been watching. We lost transmission with Lebu and we was having such a fantastic conversation. She was still telling us about the impact that she wants to have. Hey everyone, in the world. If this is not, and so I just wanted to deeply and sincerely apologize. I hate even apologizing about glitches. We should have all the technical stuff sorted out even before the summit, but in any case we will continue with the summit. I've lost Lebu and we were not able to properly wrap our conversation, but from here going forward, we hope that we will just be able to quickly run through our program with no further glitches. Woo, okay, so my next guest should be ready and waiting, should be ready to speak to us. So let us just see if we can get him to come on. Lebu, if you can see this or hear me, please just join my live. Oh my. Okay, so I'm still live, guys, and I wanted to just invite everybody to keep continuing with the conversation. It's been amazing, the feedback that we're seeing, that we're getting online from you guys. Just make sure that you continue to interact with us. We love to hear from you. We love to even talk to you. Share this live with as many people as possible. We are going to get into our conversation with the second speaker of the day, and we hope that you guys are enjoying the conversation with Lebeline. She is, the founder of People SA. I hope I've said it right this time. And she's got an amazing podcast where she shares some marketing insights and marketing strategies called Lessons with Lion. So do check it out on all social media platforms. She is at Lebeline _SA, so that's Facebook, Instagram, and all of the social media networks that you can think of, as she has mentioned to you guys before. Now, my second guest, I am still waiting for him to come onto the platform. He might be having technical issues, because I do understand that he was trying to log in and not being able to log in. So let us see if we can't get Lebu on. If Lebu is not able to join us. Okay. Hello, 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 hello.
Welcome to technology.
It's showing me some serious flames. I'm so sorry, Lebu. Rotman, thank you for agreeing to chat with me. I'm not going to waste any more time with you because I really want us to have like a good conversation where you can share your knowledge. But before I start, firstly, just thank you for I just want to acknowledge you
Hello,
for just also.
hello, 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 hello.
Ooh,
For,
I think my YouTube is open.
okay. I thought that was me again. Okay. I just want to acknowledge you, Khretman, because I really have so much respect for you, for the work that you do in the entrepreneurship ecosystem. You've been such a voice. You have literally been, just umuntu abantu, and we can all relate to your humility. It doesn't matter how successful you are. It doesn't matter that THAD is in so many African countries. You've impacted over 15,000 entrepreneurs, but you still continue to just, conduct yourself so humbly. For people like me who are still, I believe growing, I'm Nami in my journey of building my community, and we look up to you so much. Thank you so much for that, Khotman.
Thank you so much for having me. You're doing a great job. I've been watching you, and you're destined for great heights. I think you've picked up on the baton pretty nicely, and there's so much to be done. And by the way, big up to the previous guest that you had, Ulebu. I absolutely loved how she bowed out gracefully after you dropped off. She was like, "Oh, yeah." And then she carried on. I really love that. It shows humility, it shows Ubuntu, and that's something I absolutely love about entrepreneurs. We look out for each other.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even see that. I was so worried. I was like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Like, can I just, connect? But again, we don't dwell, we move on. That's how life it is. But I want to start here. You always say business is built at the speed of trust.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
It speaks to transactional behavior for me. If you can't trust me, if I'm not transparent with you, if I don't operate with integrity, just the person that I am, it does not matter what I said you in the business space. You are going to come in with doubts, So for me, it's just about being true to who you are and being true to your word. It's a very critical element of entrepreneurship, because in the journey of entrepreneurship, you are bound to lose it all. You are bound to get rejected. You're bound to fail. It does not matter how successful you become. Failure is coming. It's part of the package. It's the rite of passage onto the other side. So what do you have when you've lost it all? You've got your name, and can your name be trusted? Can you be trusted in the spaces that you're in, especially when you are not present in those spaces? When people are talking about you without you being in those spaces, do they trust you? Do they see somebody about to and that's for me where business is built at the speed of trust emanates from.
Yeah. How do we build trust? Like, I'm a small business owner. I've just got my hustle. People don't really know me that well. There's all these things that when you're starting out, we don't have the luxury of saying, oh, I've got this, good collaboration with this person. I don't have brands backing me up. So just for the ordinary SME, how do we build in that trust?
It's about showing up in the little things. If you said you're going to show up for a meeting at 8 o'clock, be there at 7:30. If you said to a customer, the product that you are selling is R1, sell it at R1, don't change. And even if you are losing at that price, make sure that you're delivering on your word. It's the little things. If a customer calls you and they're angry with the way that you interacted with them, or the way that they received your service or your product is shady, all sorts of things happen in business. In fact, they happen even for big businesses. Woolies still makes mistakes to date, so who are we, But the biggest thing is, after all that is done, how are you engaging? Somebody tweets you and they angry at your brand, like they've come to the hookup dinner and they were not treated nicely at the door. When they tweet Lebu, how do I respond? Like, all of those elements are critical into building this trust. People people want to see that it's transactional behavior. The moment you show up consistently in that way, in the little things, then it becomes easy to show up for the bigger things that are out there.
Yeah. Yo, level, I'm almost feeling a little bit pressured for time here. But listen, I just want to quickly touch on the whole Stokvel, the franchise Stokvel that you started.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I've got updated stats, but the last time I checked, you guys were at about 2 million worth of investment. I'm pretty sure it has moved up by now.
You are behind.
How behind am I? How behind am I?
Yeah, we're almost at 4 million. We're about to launch our second store anytime. I mean, I think we just got approval day before yesterday, and we're gonna roll out. Anyway, maybe I'll sum it up for you pretty nicely. So, in the space of entrepreneurship, I have gotten involved in things that trouble me personally, right? I launched that because I was struggling to network, and therefore I built a community around me that would make it safe for me to network. And I wanted that same feeling of safety for other people who are like me, who were shy and who are, going through challenging times, to feel okay, and then to start building up from there again in a safe space and environment. That gave birth to crowdfunding. We started crowdfunding on our platform. And with that genesis of crowdfunding, I mean, I learned it in Lesotho. Our Lesotho chapter was doing amazing things. About 8 people on the floor were like, we want to contribute to this pitch that just came out, and it amounted to about 60,000 Rand. And then I brought it back into South Africa where we really just blew it up. So by the time we launched the People's Fund, which was in 2017, in collaboration with Abu Luya and Nabo Mzu with Brown Sense and all, that was us digitizing the solution, right? And that was a crowdfunding solution, and then it turned into a purchase order solution. And we, over 200 million Rand later, we're on our way to being $1 billion company. So we're pretty clear about what we're doing there. I'm telling you this so that you can understand the genesis of when we talk about the franchising Stokvel, how these things come about. They're not just in silos, right? Then we launched in November of 2018, we launched the Brown Sense Stokvel, which we then renamed the People Stokvel. And that is a bank in the making. There we are building, if you remember, in the 60s, they launched the African Bank, which is still a standing giant. And unfortunately, Black people do not own it today. So it's a call to make sure that Black people are in the ownership space when it comes to banking. So we've solved the funding solution. We're trying to solve the banking solution. And then what was next was franchising. I started getting obsessed just pre-COVID. I started getting obsessed with the concept of ownership. When you think ownership, a lot of us are about amassing wealth for ourselves, right? My concept of think ownership is community. It's about Africans. It's about us getting together, putting them into a tiki box and making sure that it produces something meaningful for us. I mean, with the People's Stokvel, it's 100 Rand a month, as an example. With the franchising Stokvel that we've launched now, it's called Third Money Franchising Stokvel. Each person contributes 15,500 Rand, and it enables them to be able to have an equal share ownership of a franchise store, so they become franchisees. On average, I mean, this is for franchises that are about 1.5 million. On average, the average person who must raise money for franchising, they must have about 1 million Rand unencumbered cash. Sometimes it's even 2 million. Depending on the brand that you're buying into. So it's the most difficult thing for a Black person to actually find themselves in the ownership value chain. So we decided, let's take the collective courage approach and enable people to participate meaningfully into something by collaborating with new partners. We've got Stokvel, which helps us collect the cash and builds a transparent platform where everybody can see the transactions and everything that's going on. So Stokvel has gone digital, and it's gone national, just purely because we're using a digital platform. So we don't have to gather together somewhere, class or whatever, or in a community hall. We're digital. We launched it during COVID, and we were able in the first month to raise close to 1 million. So that has enabled us to do quite a bit when it comes to changing the narrative of franchising. And we are looking at the fast food franchising space and saying, how can we contribute meaningfully? It's not about owning the store. It's about transacting, and it's about changing the value chain. So once it becomes a Stokvel, it changes into a cooperative. And in it becoming a cooperative, the magic comes in there, because in a cooperative, people can transact. It's a company. People can participate meaningfully. We can source from our own suppliers. Our own members become suppliers. Employees become they come from members' families. So it's about building a value chain of sorts and thinking really deeply about this 84 billion rand industry called fast food franchising. How do we tap into it as Black people? Because there are no Black franchisors. How do we make sure that we build a beast in the next 5 years where Black people are participating actively? The stores that they're buying from, that they're consuming from, they actually have an ownership of them, because we're constantly complaining about that. We're like, if 100 of us got together and put, there's constantly those types of updates. So my duty is to change the narrative by being the doing guy. So I bring people together and okay, here's what we're doing next. I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know what's the next initiative we'll launch, but right now it's in the fast food franchising space. It's about tapping into the food value chain and making sure that Black people can participate meaningfully.
Yeah. Now, I hear obviously that you say you build businesses and companies based on, solving your own problems, right? But like, what is your why? Like, what is it that makes you? Because I can imagine in your journey, it hasn't just been like, oh, we woke up overnight. Now we've got this almost 4 million, in Stockfeld money to buy franchises. There have been obstacles in your journey. There have been things that, have so anybody else could have given up, but what is it that keeps you going? What is that thing that makes you keep going and keep pushing despite the obstacles?
Last night I was in a different interview and I shared this, and as I resonated over it after, I was like, it's so important. Every day there's a new cleaner, but somebody who knows you from 2015 expects to see the 2015 cleaner, or your lover expects you to be 2015. Every day we become new. So the question is your why still the same as the one in 2015? The odds are it's not. So my current why has evolved from the why that I had when I started THUD in 2012, right? So right now, what keeps me grounded more than ever, especially in the age and crisis of COVID and seeing people lose their family members and lose their minds because of this. I mean, I've got a lot of friends who lost their loved ones and they just don't know how to go on. Some are suicidal and all sorts of things are happening. For me, I'm in a state of gratitude. And that state of gratitude is driven by the fact that I've got 2 girls. And what drives me about my 2 daughters is that I would like to see a world where, whether I'm alive or not, they can walk down the street safely. For that to happen, I have to play my part whilst I'm still alive and able, whilst God has empowered me with the dreams and with the thoughts, with the talent and whatever that I can contribute into this world. My core skill is bringing people together. I'm a dot connector, and I know that when there's a problem to be solved, who should I be getting in touch with and bringing them together and then forming that solution? It's not necessarily that I will solve that problem by myself. I'm just the person who brings the brilliant minds together, and then magic takes place from there, So my biggest why right now is about eradicating poverty, unemployment, and inequality. If we can do that, crime is not going to be an issue in this country. GBV is not going to be an issue. Why? Because it's all of these things that are the types of crimes that we experience, especially in Black communities. They intricately linked to our economic status. So if we can see everybody earning a decent income, this is why in suburbs you don't see crime, but in townships we're hearing all sorts of the worst types of crimes that are happening amongst us, and we're like, guys, we've got bigger problems than to be killing each other. A big part of it has got to do with the economic means. So I'm achieved my rounding. I figure I or I microwave or whatever. Think about the ecosystem of where that comes from. It's not just about the fact that they're unemployed. It's about their state of dignity. There's so many things, there's so many layers that happen to this. And if I can participate in solving the economic problem, I believe that half of the other problems that we have in our country that are triggers right now, especially around violence, are going to fall off. That's just genuinely my belief.
Lebo, I once saw you tweet something to the effect of, whilst we are teaching people how to do business, different business skills, and all of that, we must not forget that people, I think you either said people are hungry, or we must teach them how to feed themselves, or something to that effect. Yeah. What did you actually mean by that?
we have a lot of new age mentors, so-called mentors in this digital age. I mean, the internet has democratized access, and it's a beautiful thing. But it also comes with a lot of charlatans, people who tell you what to do, but they don't tell you how to do it. You know, it's so critical. Showing people the how is an obsession of mine, because if I'm telling somebody, I'm standing in front, like, you know, you must be courageous, you must start a business, you must, like, those are all the whats. What. But how must I do this thing? Meaning I've got R5 access, your data. I can't even access a live stream like this because it's too expensive. You know, the moment I load my R5 onto whether it's MTN or Vodacom or whatever, Facebook back whatever the thing that's running in the background apps already takes 70% of that. So I have to be very choosy about what apps I have on my little phone, right? So when you are the person who's in a privileged position like myself and you right now, we've got access to data. Data is not one of our worries in life. And therefore it means we're in probably the top 10% of wealth in this country just by having access to such this easily. The question is, how are we using our influence? How are we ensuring that somebody who can only access Twitter for about 10 minutes a day, as an example, when they click onto your profile or something comes onto your timeline, are you just motivating them with air, or are you teaching them how to fish? Are you showing them that no? Our business is not this big thing. Right, to take something, how we take a add a R5 markup, and if somebody buys, repeat that process because you're learning how to sell. And if you can do this thing well, then here's the next step that you need to tap into. So for me, that is the obsession. Like, if we can tone down on the influencer side with telling people what to do, and instead showing people how to do things so that they can come out of their circumstances and their difficult environments, then we're going to start winning this war on poverty.
Yeah. Woo! Yeah. Wow, Lebo, I want to ask you so many questions, obviously, but we have to basically wrap our interview up so I can bring in my next guest. And you know, there's so much more that, you know, we want to learn from you. And before I ask you my final question, please tell everybody where we can find you, where we can interact with you, all of that good stuff.
It's simple. Just search for Slebo Khomolefe or Dr. Life's Good online on any platform. Or just get onto Google and search for Slebo Khomolefe. Wherever you find me, where you've got access. Some people are on LinkedIn, some are on Twitter, some are on Facebook. Doesn't matter, you'll find it. And then my website is that.africa. That is THUD.Africa. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me as well. Hey, salute. Cheers, man. All righty, we are not yet at the end. We are literally, we've just done with our second speaker of the day, Slebo Khomolefe. He is the owner of THUD. You can find him all social media platforms. He's at Dr. Life's Good, or just search for Slebo Khomolefe. You know, just take a moment to again just acknowledge everybody who's here, everybody that's staying on the live platform, everybody that's keeping with us despite our, you know, earlier technical issues. Our program obviously is changing slightly because we've had that little bit of a break in transmission from the first speaker, but we are just now rolling until the end. So do stay with us. Don't forget to just make sure that you are part of our conversation. Let us know, tweet us anything that resonates with you that you think can really impact somebody's life. Just make sure that you share it on all your social media platforms. And we are now finally live with Matsi Modise. Hi, Matsi.
Dina, I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm lip reading, so I can't actually hear you. But okay, wait. Now I can hear you. Cool.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Amazing. Matsi, thank you so much for joining. I actually want to give you a proper introduction because I do believe, like, we need to do things properly around here. We've had a bit of some technical issues, so we couldn't introduce our previous guest, but I definitely want to just give you the you know, the proper introduction that you deserve. So all right. So Matsi Modise is the founder of Furaha Africa Holdings. Matsi is a dynamic leader, an entrepreneur, an activist, and an international keynote speaker who has co-founded companies such as Emerge Business Consultants and Simudisa Digital Portal. Matsi is a board member of numerous organizations where she directs and plays critical advisory role. Her awards and accolades are too many to mention, and many hosts like myself actually struggle to give Matsi the colorful introduction that she deserves. Matsi is the top 100 disruptor. She is the top 50 global shapers to attend the World Economic Forum at the annual meeting in Davos, Switzerland. She is a Google Launchpad Africa mentor. She has been awarded the Coca-Cola Young Achiever of the Year at the Women in Leadership Africa Summit. Matsi has been named the top 30 African leaders in business to look out for in technology, art, science, politics, and design. Ladies and gentlemen, I really don't know what Matsi hasn't done, but please help me welcome her onto the Small Business Runway Digital Summit. If I had it would be appropriate to do it right now.
Thank
Matsi,
you.
I hope I've done your introduction some justice.
You've done it very well. Thank you, Pina. The one thing I haven't done is have children. So it's still on my to-do list.
Okay. So there you have it. Oh my goodness, Matsi, I don't know how many interviews of yours I've read. And I'm like, I don't want to ask you the same questions. You've done a lot in your life. You literally have traveled the world. You have started businesses. You have collaborated. You've done different partnerships. But the one thing I really want to get from you is not just how you are doing it, but I just, what I'm trying to say is I want to get a different angle to this. That's basically what I'm trying to say to you. But Matsi, your journey hasn't, I can imagine, been one without a lot of sacrifice, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of challenges. What is it that you really had to sacrifice? Because I do believe that, in order to achieve big things, we have to sacrifice something. So what is it that Matsi in her life, whether personally or professionally, have had to sacrifice in order to do all the things and achieve all the things you've achieved?
Kunal, thank you so much for the wonderful opportunity to be part of your summit, and well done to you. It's such a great job, and I'm always following you and watching you. So keep doing what you're doing, keep pursuing your purpose, and keep making the impact that you are making right now to small businesses in South Africa. It's a very interesting question, and I'm glad that you asked it, because many times, people tend to just focus on the business related content versus the person and, what makes a person get to where they are and what they're doing. So, I always never really see challenges or, negative things in life as negative things. So, if you ask me what is a sacrifice, I would say none, because whatever I have to do to be who I am and what I'm doing now is part of the journey. So I see it as part of the journey. I don't see it as having to deprive myself of, I'm very dedicated to the cause. I'm very dedicated to the things that I want to achieve in life. And, if I have to also share a story about my life and what really propels me every day, every morning, is, having to see my mother lose everything at some point in her life. Luckily, one was old enough to be able to be there for her, to be able to support her. So growing up, we had a very good life. She worked very hard as a single mother. But then, at some stage, she lost everything. When you see the sheriff come to the house, having to repossess the houses, come to the house, having to take away the cars, those were very key, significant moments in my life, because I just said that, I've always celebrated my mother. She's one person who's a great inspiration. One of the nicest people I know. No bad bone in her. There's those very strict moms. My mom was not strict, but she was very clear. If you're not doing the right things, she'll kind of put you in place. But a very nice, genuine, sincere human that always wants nothing but the best and the good in people. So seeing her lose all of that just really motivated me to do more. to avoid the mistakes that she made, making not so great financial decisions that led to her losing everything. And then also just as much as she's good and kind and very generous, charity begins at home. So you need to look after yourself first before you can look after everybody else. So I think that's one thing that really, really propels me. And yeah, and the sacrifices, I don't really see it as sacrifices. It's kind of power to the cause. It's what I have to do. It's more what are the things that I do not compromise on? I think just my sanity, my peace of mind. So I'm always one for having good energy around me. If they're not so good people around me, if they're not so great toxic people around me, I just get rid of that very quickly, because for me to wake up every day and be productive and be happy, I have to have a good energy, good aura, and I can't have toxic people or toxic things around me, even work related challenges every day, because obviously to build a business every day there'll be something that's challenging you, whether it's having to deal with SARS, having to deal with that, having to deal with clients, that are not happy. You just have to deal with it, right? You just have to get on and deal with it. So I think for me, I tend to, like yesterday, I remember I was flying back from Cape Town back to Joburg, and there's something that happened with my accountant and my SARS. I was livid. Literally, when I got onto that aeroplane, I was livid. And, I had people that were sitting next to me, but I just, within myself, within 5 minutes, just said, okay, this is not good. This is not good at all, but just deal with it. So the minute I landed, I sent a very nice, courteous message to my accountant saying, hi, can I give you a call? And this was after 5. And can we discuss this VAT issue? Because obviously it's quite a setback in one of the areas that we've been dealing with. And then I called her, I had a very good, productive conversation with her. So it's just like internalize it for 5 minutes and then deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Sure. And you seem like you handle it with so much grace. Like you said, you had to, just talk within yourself, which I think is very important. And also just on that, like, how do we, as entrepreneurs in our everyday struggles, in our everyday lives, we're trying to put this and this together. We're trying to form partnerships, collaborations. For me, it's just like, I really wanted to ask you, because I thought, if you've done so much and you've been, part of so many other companies, like, how do we sort of open the doors for us to be able to collaborate? Everybody's now talking about collaboration as the new innovation, but it's like, practically, how do we do that? How do I partner with somebody? How do I approach someone who's already doing well in an established business and say, listen, here's an opportunity that I can see us working together. So basically, how do we also get into that space of collaboration as small business owners, wherever we are in our corners?
It's a very good question, very good point. But the whole thing of collaboration as a new innovation, it's a buzzword that a few people actually walk that talk, a few people. A lot of people talk about collaboration, but what I have seen throughout like the 10 plus years of being in this space is not a lot of people genuinely want to work together. People like to build their own castles, own empires. People don't really like to share much. But it is a very important thing to do, because if you look at an organization like Simodisa, it's about collaboration. It's not about recreating the wheel. We started off as an industry association, and how do we create an enabling environment for small businesses to thrive in our country? And we don't have all the answers. We don't have all the solutions, but we know that in every other corner in the country, there are people like yourselves. There's people like, the third guy, Lebu from Third. There's people like Sylvester. They're all doing their own things in their own environments. And it's a function of, how do we collaborate them? How do we ensure that if I'm an entrepreneur, or if I'm a wannabe entrepreneur, I want to start something, I know what is happening in South Africa. So Simodisa's basis is, how do you work with everybody that's doing great things within small businesses? So how we do it at Simodisa is, like you reached out and you said, hi guys, I'm doing a summit. You've been engaging with us for a while. Would you like to be part of it? And we're like, of course, we would like to see how we can support you, how we can promote the stuff. I mean, you've also seen on our, social media platforms, we constantly pushing. So any content, any initiative that anybody has to empower small businesses, Simodisa has put its hand up to say that we are here to help you. We have the platforms, we have the tools, we have the ability to reach out to our community of entrepreneurs. And in essence, so that's kind of how we practice collaboration, because we believe that we can't create anything big for our country if we all work in our own silos. And unfortunately, a lot of people have that mentality of not wanting to share ideas or recreate what's happening. So that's, from a Simodisa perspective. And then for me, personally, my business ventures, it's all about collaborations, really. I swear, I've never really, the model that I've created has been one that I wouldn't be this far if I didn't collaborate with people, right? So an example is with Furaha Solutions, which we do learning and development. So instead of recreating a business from scratch, I looked at what are the top learning and development HR solutions businesses in South Africa, right? There's a few of them, one or two of them listed. So the first one is, I had a partnership. I struck a partnership with the one big organization. It's listed on the LTEX, so the smaller JAC listing. And I did some work with them, but for me to be able to progress my own business agenda, I wouldn't have been able to do it without them, because I said, guys, here is me and what I bring to the table. Here's you and what you bring to the table. And let's come together and create a new business, but I'll be running that business because, I'll bring in my strategic inputs. I'll bring in my business development inputs. I'll bring in, my energy around it. And through that, we're able to really build something. And that means that I don't have to hire 1,000 people. They've already been hiring 1,000 people for 45 years. All I had to do is say, let's just strategize. Let's find, let's see how we could collaboratively bring value to one another and then create an entity. So that's, Furaha Solutions, it's doing quite well over the past 3 years. We've had great turnovers. I think last year, as much as COVID happened, we had a very good year. But that only could happen through collaboration. So I think small businesses need to find creative ways of leveraging other people's strengths. So I've leveraged the strength of an existing business and my strength, and I've been very clear on what I brought to the table, because in those environments, as a small player, it's easy to feel like, okay, what am I adding to the table? But actually, you are adding a lot. So you always constantly have to create environments where there's clear value exchange and build something collaboratively.
How do I package my value, Matsi? Like, how do I almost want to ask you, what is it specifically that I have to put on the table and in the proposal when I ask for collaboration that is, that makes people then say, okay, we'll sign on the dotted line. What are those sort of, how do I package my value?
It's a very good question, because people always talk about my energy, and it's like, good Lord, if I could package my energy and sell it, I'd be a billionaire. Because everybody always talks about how they like working with me because of the energy that I put in. And, packaging does not have to be tangible, physical things. It's your mind, your brain, your ability to think, your ability to see things differently. That's what you bring to the table. How I approach my business is I bring in different thinking. How I approach business is I focus on value creation for my partners that I work with to create, the business that we have, and value creation for my clients. I kind of put my clients first, and I'm constantly fighting, with people so that at the end of the day, my clients get what they've paid for. So it's kind of just writing down. I'm very good at networking, and, when I was kind of coming up, I realized that, okay, I'm doing a lot of good work that's very nonprofit in nature, but given the networks that I have, given the environments that I have influence, given the environments that are constantly engaged, one day I need to be able to sell a product, right? One day I need to be able to sell a service. But I had to kind of build the networks that I have to be able to, when I have the products and the services or the partnerships that I have, I can say, here's now what I have to offer. And now I'm leveraging the networks that I have. And so I've always thought, being a good networker, let your networks be your net worth. And when I was younger, I've always in my mind not I've always been unsatisfied with the fact that, great, I'm selling wonderful nonprofit work, which is something that I love to do. But now at some point, if I want to achieve that $1 billion status, billion rand status, I have to sell something. What does that something look like? And then, I've been able to now look at an industry that I didn't really study in, but I knew that I'm quite a smart person. So I can quickly understand the business model, unless it's too complicated. But business models are, some of them are quite basic. And if you identify an area that you feel like, for example, the learning and development business is, we will always be in a position where we have to skill, upskill, reskill people, because we are a growing economy. We are a growing continent, right? We talk about Africa's economic potential. Who are those people that are going to contribute towards that economic potential? Those are people that have to be skilled. So I then position my company in an environment or in a sector that I feel it's going to always require what I do, upskilling. And now, last year since COVID, we then had an opportunity to do skilling, upskilling, reskilling on a digital platform, on a virtual platform. So we're now also selling learner management systems. So it's, how do you evolve? How do you identify your strengths? How do you identify the things that you're good at? And then how do you position them with an environment that it is bound to grow, or it's always going to grow? When Coca-Cola was established, it needed skilled people to be able to do what Coca-Cola requires to be Coca-Cola today. So you need to then identify industries that that this is where we're going. I mean, you look at Africa's potential. I mean, 60% of the world's arable land is on our continent, right? A lot of the resources, natural resources, are on our continent. At some point, the switch is going to flip, and we as Africans will have to wake up to the opportunity of saying, how are we ensuring that the factors of production are on Africa? Not our natural resources are on our continent, but everybody else is finding ways of monetizing those things. We have to be the factors of production on our very own continent. So which industries are likely to win in that regard? So look at the natural resources that we have. Human capital, human resources are also natural resources, right? They say the number is quite high. I don't know the statistics, but a large amount of the world's youngest population is on the African continent. So these are a lot of people that at this point in time have to be skilled in a manner that they'll contribute towards the world, because we are the majority of the youngest people on the continent. So I think it has to, how to package your value is, you have to look at inside, what am I capable of doing? And don't be shy. I'm one person, I'm my biggest fan. I know I'm a graceful person. I don't boast, I don't gloat, hopefully not. But, the conversations I have with myself about myself are very positive, because, one of the few things, or one of the biggest things, is we tend to be our biggest enemies. We tend to be our biggest fighters. We tend to be our biggest inhibitors. The whole world, most of the time, my dad would always say, not everybody's going to be happy for you, Maxi. Not everybody's going to want to see you succeed. So do yourself a favor, and when you wake up in the morning, be your biggest fan. Be your biggest motivator. Don't seek for external validation from other people that you're smart, that you're capable, that you're competent, that you are female, that you're Black, and that you belong. Like, this is the stuff that you yourself, it's the only thing that you yourself can do, because the rest of the world tends to kind of make you feel like the opposite of what you should be feeling. So I think a lot happens within, your ability to know what you're good at, because sometimes we also tend to look at what other people are doing and, oh my gosh, I wish I was good at doing this. I wish I was good at doing that. But I think it's very, very important that you identify, what are you good at? I'm not the smartest person when it comes to mathematics, but that doesn't make me dumb. I'm quite a strategic person. I realize that I connect dots very quickly. When there is an issue, when there is a problem, I'm a problem solver. Entrepreneurs are problem solvers naturally. And I like my entrepreneurial friends, because when I have a problem, they are the ones that I call, because they will figure it out with me. They're the ones to really quickly figure things out. So just focus internally. What am I good at? What am I passionate about? And just sometimes close yourself to what's happening in the rest of the world. Close yourself from what's happening with people that are saying what about you, and just look within and say, this is what I'm good at. this is what I'm passionate about. Also look outside and say, what are the opportunities that are out there and how can I play a role? But also just allow life to happen, because, you know, I'm quite a spiritual person. I believe that where I am now, the fact that I'm chatting to you now, the fact that there'll be somebody out there listening to this and might just inspire one little thought or one little thing, that is my purpose for the day, right? So my daily prayer, part of it is, you know, I should just be here to fulfill God's purpose for what he has put me on this earth for. Because a lot of times we have plans for ourselves, but, you know, at the end of the day, God has written your script. So all you need to do is put your best foot out in the morning and say, God, I'm here. I'm about to step into this day. Show me what I need to do, but let it be something that makes me happy, that makes me thrive, that brings abundance in my life, you know, just so manifest the positivity.
But Matsi, what are those conversations that you have with yourself then? Like, what are some of the things that are you like, look in the mirror, you're beautiful, you're powerful, you're a boss. Like, what does that conversation look like?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, and I don't even have to look in the mirror. I just have to know that, you know what, you are blessed, you are abundant, you're sunshine, you're a ray of light, you are energy, you are love personified, you are love, you know. So, but it's not something that just happens, right? It took a long time of doing a lot of self work, you know, work within, you know, and just going through friendships, going through relationships, going through, you know, encounters in business, going through environments that are not great and toxic, and just always being true to who you are. You know, the one thing that my friends from school of varsity would say, it's like, you've never changed. It's like, but why should I change? You're ever evolving as a person, you know, and just because, you know, and I know my bio is quite a long-winded bio, and I'm very happy for those strides. But, you know, one thing that just keeps me rooted is that all of those wonderful things, it's not me, it's just God and what he wants for my life, right? So I never really claim any accolades. I just always think, you know what, this is me showing off what God can do in anybody's life. So I think sometimes we tend to be quite me, I. It's like, no, it's God. Like, you know that. So there has to be a huge element of spirituality in your life, whatever it is that you believe in. You know, you can't say you have to believe in God, but you just have to believe in a higher power that has set you on this earth to just fulfill a purpose. And so a lot of things, as much as I can plan, as much as I can manifest, but it all begins in my morning prayer and the conversation I have with God. And, you know, there will be times, especially now during COVID, where you are in a lot of doubt around what's going to happen to me. God, like, you know, really, am I going to be alive tomorrow? My family, is everybody safe? Is my mom happy? But at the end of the day, it's basically just saying that you've made it this far in life. You really have. You know, you've come this far. When in doubt, when you look at you know, the things that could go wrong, it's like, let's not manifest the negativity. Let's manifest the positivity. I do have a since last year, I got myself a product. What is it? He's not a psychologist, or he's like a productivity coach, you know, somebody that performance coach, you know, somebody that I check in once a month, and we have conversations around how's Matsi, what's happening in Matsi's life. He's always taking notes of the things that I share with him, and then the next time he keeps me accountable. So, you know, last year I got that because every time I thought of getting a performance coach or a life coach, I thought, you know, these are like the wishy-washy little soft things, you know, especially as Black people, we tend to think, why do I need a shrink? You know, it's not for us. This stuff is not for us. But, you know, I kind of had to have somebody who keeps me honest, somebody who keeps me accountable, and somebody that just checks in, that doesn't really know you or know anything about your life. But, you know, you can always just share where you are. And if you're distressed, you know, you're going through exam or this in work, he'll always be able to kind of say, but Matsi, you know, in this, you need to look at it in that way, because I'm an alpha female. So, you know, the people that work with me or work for me will tell you that I crack the whip. I do. But I always have a disclaimer and say, guys, the things that I'm doing, the things that I'm saying, it comes from a good place. It's come from a place of believing in you and your ability. And the reason why I will call you out is because I know you can do more, and I know you can do better. So bear with me. What I'm about to say might not like land nicely, but I have to say it because at the end of the day, we are growing a business. We are running a business. We have clients that we have to deliver to. But, with all due respect, this has to be changed, or this must be done in this way.
Yeah.
Mm.
Woo, I've had such an amazing 25 minutes with you. I almost don't want to let you go, but I want to wrap up quickly. Matsi, what so two last questions for you. And the second last question is, what is it going to take for us to revitalize the small business economy? COVID has happened. People have lost or closed their businesses. People, are either you were formerly employed, now unemployed. There's so much, what I want to call, I don't want to call it turmoil, but so many things have happened with COVID. What is it really going to take for us, me and you and everybody that's watching, to really start to revitalize the small business economy?
Similar to what I've said earlier on, it all starts within, hey, Lina. It sounds very basic and simple, but your ability to thrive during these times is how the conversations you're having with yourself on a daily basis. You talk about hustling. It's something that you can say, I need to hustle, but what does that mean? Right? I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a billionaire, but what does it mean? Right? It's about the planning that you do within yourself, the daily activities that you do between yourselves, the things that you should be canceling out of your life because they're just not adding to what where you're headed to in life. So I could give you all the strategies and what I'm currently doing, etc., but I think it boils down with what really happens inside of you on a daily basis, on a second to minute to hour to daily basis, and how you're pushing yourself. Because some businesses are not necessarily geared to survive, and if for some reason it's not working out, and you've done everything and you continue to try doing everything to salvage the situation, and it's not working out, maybe it's time to let go. Because at the end of you closing this door, or as you open a new door because you've let this one go, there's probably something bigger, and a lot of my experiences have come from when I have been in a period of distress, so let's say a few months, but kind of going through the motions and letting go has opened bigger doors. So I think people try salvage what you can if it's salvageable. And at the end of the day, you have to identify your opportunity as something. Do people want this? Because as entrepreneurs and small businesses, we're trying to save a business where there's clearly no need for what I'm doing. Why am I doing it? So ask yourselves those very difficult questions. Do people appreciate what I'm doing when I wake up in the morning and open the doors to my business? Do they want to put money into what I'm doing? And if no is the answer, then perhaps this is not something you should be doing. Try find things that people are actually needing right now, especially during this time of a pandemic. So I think it's important to it starts within the conversations, the very hard questions you ask yourself, the very, positive affirmations, but also the ability to let go things that are supposed to go. So it's just being honest with yourself, being honest with the opportunities, being honest with what you're doing. And I do believe that those things will be able to kind of allow you to see things that you should be seeing because I don't think God wants us to suffer. God wants us to fail in life. But certain things must go. Certain opportunities must go, because that's how you grow, right? I've had to let go a lot of things, a lot of people, a lot of friendships, a lot of relationships to be where I am now. And I know that this is why I will safeguard my sanity, my peace, and my ability to kind of know that I won't allow any negativity in my life, because I have to be in an environment that allows me to be positive and have positive affirmations on my life.
Yeah. Woo, that is amazing. Matsi, before my last question, please tell everybody where we can find you, where we can follow your journey, and just really, where we can learn more about what you do.
Well, I am on the socials. I'm very active on Instagram because I live in color and in pictures. So very active on Instagram. So Miss Matsi. I think it's Miss Matsi on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, Matsi Modise. I'm on Twitter. Not too active on Twitter as Matsi Modise, and then LinkedIn as well as Matsi Modise. And then you can follow organizations like Simodisa, which is a nonprofit organization that supports youth small businesses. We're constantly working with amazing people, constantly having lots of opportunities, sharing information, sharing opportunities. So Simodisa, Simodisa. And then Furaha, Furaha is kind of my for-profit organization, and some of the opportunities we have there around work and employment and upskilling. So, if you follow that, you'll also get information around that stuff. So we kind of, I'm there, I'm present, primarily on Instagram. It will be nice to connect with people. And yeah, Glenn, I think before you wrap up, it's like, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the invite, and keep doing the wonderful work that you're doing for small businesses. Don't give up.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That means a lot. And Matsi, then my final question to you is, what is the impact that you want to have and the legacy that you want to leave behind in the world?
So I think my impact legacy, it's I really want to build a Black female international multinational business. Really, the sky's the limit. I'm not limiting myself with, I want to build a multi-billion rand South African business. Yes, it will be a South African business, but it will be an international business. And I want to show that anyone and anything is possible, because, we don't achieve certain things because we limit ourselves. So I'm not going to limit myself by saying, I want to be a successful business woman that comes from a small town in South Africa. And I want to build that so that it can empower its people, it can employ its people. Africans really need to rise to the occasion. No one is stopping us. I mean, yes, sure, in business, there are lots of factors that can stop you from achieving, but you should not limit your ambitions by saying, I just want to be. It's like, I want to be an owner, a founder of a multinational business. I want to invest in businesses that are going to grow globally. So besides Furaha, we also do invest in, we recently invested in a fintech business that is registered in Singapore, operating in 5 African countries. And so I'm making, by just manifesting that and saying, I want to play on a global scale, already these opportunities come. So don't limit yourself, don't limit your thinking, because you're the one person that the rest of the world is waiting for you to rise to the occasion.
With that said, I hope everybody has enjoyed the conversations. I hope everybody, is showing Matsi some love. Go ahead and follow her on all social media platforms. However, she is mainly active on Instagram at Miss Matsi. Follow Simodisa organization as well as Furaha organization. I will literally be dropping all the links to the companies and Matsi Modisa's social media in the comment section, so look out for that. Matsi, thank you so much for joining us. I wish you nothing but the best. I'm pretty sure your dreams are going to come, like I know that it's going to come true, and we're watching also from in our corners, just and cheering you on. You're doing such an amazing job. Thank you for the humility to agree to do this live with me. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Guna, and all the best. Enjoy the rest of the summit.
Thank you, Matsi.
All righty. Cheers then.
Amazing. Bye. So guys, we are swiftly and quickly coming towards the end of our summit. But again, I want to remind everybody to keep interacting with us. We are seeing your comments. We are, seeing your interaction. We really appreciate you just taking the time to say, I want to learn. I want to watch what the Small Business Runway Summit is about. The theme for today is small business revitalization. And so the conversations we're having are with business people and leaders that are people in their respective spaces who are revitalizing the economy, who are employing young people. And so really, I'm talking to trailblazers, if you haven't noticed already. So we've had a lovely conversation with Matsi Modise. I literally am going to drop all the comments, all the information about who we've interviewed on today's summit. But I hope you guys are still following the conversation. Do me a favor and tweet a bit here and there. Share with your networks, share on Facebook, share on Instagram, anybody that you think can benefit from this conversation that we're having. We're about to bring on our last 2 speakers, Billy Guy Nelson Bambe of Black Child It's Possible, as well as then our final speaker for the day will be Sylvester Chauke of DNA Brand Architects. And so I hope everybody can just really give us that little bit of a push just share with your networks, share with everybody. Make sure that you do subscribe to our channel, because this will not be the last summit that we have. So make sure that you are tuned in, you are interacting with us, and really just actually dropping me your questions. I want to be able now to read some of the questions I have that you guys have been dropping here. So make sure that you just keep dropping your questions so that the conversation can flow. All right, so we are actually just anticipating our second last guest, which is a very good, he's a mentor of mine, he's a brother of mine. I've known him for over 15 years. And I just want to we're gonna wait for him. And while we do that, maybe let me read some of your guys' comments so that we can have a live interaction. Okay, but don't forget to tweet. Let's all tweet right now. Small Business Revitalization is happening live on our YouTube channel. Let's all make sure that we just share it to as many people as possible so that they can join us in this amazing conversation. And I'm literally looking for your guys' comments. Oh, I see Tiffany Rochelle saying, powerful interview, Syllable is my kind of leader. Tepiso Malema is saying, we are really learning from the best. Thank you, Sistina, for this platform. Thank you. You are so welcome. Leonard Muliki says, a very invaluable insights from the speakers thus far. Thank you so much for that. Okay. Let's see. What else? Zanele Twala is saying, Grina, you are mute on my side. Not sure if it's my phone. Zanele, I think that it was a bit of a, because you sent this message earlier on in the hour, I think there was a bit of a technical issue, but it looks like we are back now. Okay, so for the last stretch, I'm trying to see if there's any more conversations. Melody Mia just tweeted, I just commented now saying, love the conversation. Thank you so much for that. All right, so I don't see any other new comments, guys. Thank you so much. Keep the conversation going. It doesn't end here. My purpose and job with this conversation and company is to bring you the people and the conversations that you will need to put money and power in your life as a small business owner, as a minority business owner. Our guest of the day, which is our fourth guest of the day, is finally here. So we are going to just wait for him to join us. I've accepted the invite, so he's about to come on live with us. Okay, so I've just gotten a note that my screen, I'm gonna try and see if I can't move to one side. Let's see if this actually gives us the proper view that we need, because I understand that you guys have been seeing just the part of me. I don't want you to see the part of me. I want you to see the whole of me. So I hope this actually works. Okay, so, man, I love live. Yes, it looks like it's working. Amazing. Okay, so while our second last speaker for the day is joining, the conversation, guys, is all about small business revitalization. Like I said, our whole aim and purpose is to bring the conversation and people that will impact your life, that will put money and power in your hands, whether it is by a lesson, a practical tip or tool, whether it's by inspiration. We just want to bring you the conversations that matter. So make sure that you are also subscribed to the channel. There's a button at the bottom somewhere on your screen that says subscribe. It's in red. Please subscribe to the channel. Please invite as many people as well to join the movement. We are on @Small Business Runway on Facebook. We are on @Small Biz Runway on Twitter, and we are on @Small Business Runway _chick on Facebook. So please take a screenshot. If anything resonates with you, Make sure you post it onto the stories so that we can then retweet it for you and repost it. It's really, really exciting to be able to interact with you guys. But I see we've just lost our guest now. So I'm not able to invite him. Let's try and add him again. Okay, so Billy Guy is joining us. Yay! He is finally here. So just connecting there. Hi, Billy. Can you hear me now? Billy, can you hear me now? Oh dear, the sound. Can anybody else can you guys hear me? Can you hear Billy? Oh, you can hear me now, but you are still on mute. Billy, please unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me?
There we go.
Oh, okay, all right. I think in muting me, I unmuted, but either way, I'm here. How's it, Tina?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I've been watching this whole time. I'm on site for another event. So that's why I'm sitting in my car right now. We've got a 2-day conference, but I'm so excited. All the speakers I've been watching from the beginning.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. Let me quickly do an intro. We need to do things properly around here. So for everybody that doesn't know, Billy Guy Nelson Pembe is a social activist. He's an inspirational speaker, author, and entrepreneur. He is a true pioneer of inspiration. This dynamic and fired-up gentleman founded his first company at the age of 19, with his very first employees as his university classmates. His success in establishing and running his company led him to initiating the movement Black Child, It's Possible, as an answer to many people's questions on how he managed to realize his dreams regardless of his surrounding negative circumstances. He founded this inspirational missile upon the realization of a need to encourage and empower individuals to aspire to rise above their circumstances and become the best that they can be. Some of his achievements and milestones include being the MD and founder of Trinity Entertainment, the MD and founder of Talent Academy SA, founder of Talent Academy Swaziland, CEO and founder of Black Child It's Possible Productions, CEO and founder of Inspirational Networks. He's a self-published author of 2 books. The one book is Each One Teach One. The second book, he's founded 2 books, Each One Teach One, and now his 3rd book, which he launched on Sunday, called Repurpose. Billy, your intro, I had to say everything so people can understand the caliber of the person I'm talking to. We're not just talking to somebody that's like, you know, young in the game. You have been around, you have been through so much, and you packaged your journey into a beautiful book called Repurpose. For everybody that needs to purchase, we will definitely send you details. Yes. And so I'm so excited. We launched the book on Sunday. And it was such a successful launch with an international speaker, which I also believe is watching us right now. So just shout out to Tiffany. But Billy, welcome to Small Business Runway Digital Platform.
Oh, thank you so much, Tina, and big congratulations to you, girl. You know, for this platform to be possible for everybody, it takes you and the initiative that you had. So kudos to you, Tina, for taking this initiative to bring us all together, and most importantly, for the benefit of our people.
Of our people, yes. So let's start right there, Billy. Where the inspiration that you talk about, the leadership, the person that you are, why, what is your need, or where does your love for people and your country come from?
Well, Gina, when people get a chance to, divulge or get into my book, these are some of the things that they'll get to know about. But for those who do not have that privilege currently, I'm a young person who has a very unique upbringing. And when I say unique upbringing, we all do. We all came at different dates. We all came from different parents, different environments. But mine is unique in such a sense that what formation that led to my coming here has made lots of people give up on life. So first thing, I was adopted, okay? And I speak about it in the book. And being adopted, and I've seen the power in it also, is that one, it can leave you vulnerable, feeling as though you have no body, you have no foundation. But two, it can also unearth things out of you that you never thought you possessed. So those very things that you have missing, you then start unearthing them out of you. So my journey in getting here, Dina, has been one of a person who grew up not having privilege, if I may call it that. I was then taken on, and again, God's purpose, taken on by two loving parents who raised me. Now, environment, I was taken from a not so good environment into a really great environment. Now, environments also offer what we call opportunities. Now, being in a good environment, I had opportunities to go to good schools. I had opportunities to learn English. I'm not so keen on this English language, although I'm so good at it, that it opens doors. But it's never a measure of intelligence. So thank you for that. That environment allowed that. But also in my unique upbringing, I also came across things that a lot of our Africans are missing, which I had at home. I had a parent who was consistent about encouraging me. So coming to your question as to where does it all come from, to have the love for people, to have the love for encouragement, is seeing that I'd come from, not so pretty background, but somebody, not financially, not things that we can touch that are tangible, but with words, because words are powerful. They say when you open your mouth, you tell people who you are. So good words, positive words. My mother said one simple thing every single day, which I feel every parent should say. And it was, Mudimu ubetsi ntotse kholo. God has placed great things in store for you. And as I live and I go forward, I've come to realize that if we are patient enough and we are diligent enough and we stick to our faith, those things will become a reality in our lives.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, and then okay, so now you have had the privilege to have a mom that used to encourage you. She used to speak life into you. What do you have to say to some other people who might be watching and are like, okay, you just had a good mom. I either don't have a mom, I don't have the privilege of having parents to encourage me. We've all got different dynamics. What do you have to say to us, just as a word of encouragement to kind of get on the same page as you in terms of the inspiration?
Two of your previous guests, and they spoke lovely, Gina. The best thing about having this kind of session is that even people like myself get to learn. They say the moment you stop being a student is the day you die. So in this case, they said something that is so important, and one of them that I picked up was that each day is new. Okay, just that simplicity. Each day is new. Now, if each day is new, each new day comes with new opportunities, right? Now, with every new day, every new opportunity, we also have, this is now what we have in our control, the power to exercise choice. Then every single minute we are alive, someone made a choice to either watch the summit or to engage in something else that will not build them, or take whatever it is that they're doing to the next level. That's a choice. Every single day, whether we've got food at home or not, it is a choice to go out and market for work. And marketing for work, guys, does not always mean going, ebalungwini, going to corporate institutions. Marketing for work is something I had done, I write about in the book, is asking a few of your neighbors that can you do the garden for them. That ensures that now, that kind of thinking, knowing what every single day we have a choice. Even the most poorest, most disadvantaged person can exercise that. It's the one thing we can all spend, our power to exercise choice. Now, you have a choice. Whether you are sitting in someone's house who has a cell phone, because maybe you don't, I'm gonna touch on all the things that are the worst of their kind. I'm poor, I don't have this, I don't have that. It's easier to say, I can't do nothing because I don't have. But if you can exercise choice, someone who probably has a phone. that you can say, instead of let's rather watch the small business summit that's happening with the same data. That's choice. When you wake up exeni, it's a choice to pray, those who have a firm belief in God or any other power, or it's a choice to just get up and get on with your day. So where I'm going with this dinner is that everything and anything that I've achieved to get to this point, and even anybody who has absolutely nothing or no one, what they do have in their control is the power to exercise choice.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, it sounds simplistic enough, right? We all have choice, guys. It's not even a matter of he has choice, you have choice, I don't have it, everybody else has it. Now, you speak a lot about mindset, and I think even in your book, you speak a lot, you've written so eloquently about just the mindset of, taking one thing and putting it next to each other. Just percent of your environment, and all of those things. So in the conversation, in the context of this conversation where we're talking about small business revitalization, right? What do you think it is that we can do with the power of our choice to now start to revitalize the small business economy in our country?
Then you'll excuse me, but I'll have to refer to something in the book like you did when, by the way, you did a massive job emceeing the event on Sunday when we were launching this book. But I'd like to just touch on page 36 of the book. And, I think it speaks very much to a lot of entrepreneurs, what they've gone through, and perhaps those who are looking for the journey of entrepreneurship and may think it's easy. It's always, I say, it's not easy being an entrepreneur, but perhaps this will just put it in a nutshell as to both encouraging, but also heeding the call, So it's always good to have warning signs as to, what does it come with? Just listen to this very quickly. The only part they told us about entrepreneurship was that we would be our own bosses. They never told us that we would fail in many times before we'd succeed. They never told us that we would work 5 times more than our employees and not get anything sometimes. They never told us that this would cripple our credit score, that we will be in debt and owe a lot of people money. The one thing that they never said was that we'd have sleepless nights trying to figure out a way forward. No one told us about the stress and anxiety. No one told us that this will cause conflict between us and our relatives, friends, and family members because they get tired of chasing your dream. No one told us that would be jokes to the society, especially when we start changing from one business to another. No one told us that sometimes we'll go 6 months and sometimes years without any income, living in the edge and surviving through borrowing money from different people. No one told us we'd be hobos at some point. No one told us that our wives, husbands, boyfriends, and girlfriends would leave us because they will not understand our journey. And journey is the key word. No one told us that we'll have to be more than patient, that we would make so many mistakes, end up losing a lot of money, that at some point we would have to risk our lives in order to move forward. We had to figure this all by ourselves. Many gave up on the journey. Some died on the journey. But some of us, after going through so much pain, we decided that we were going to succeed or die trying. This is the journey of the entrepreneur, Gina.
I can't believe that resonates with me so much. Like sleepless nights, working harder than everybody else. This is what people don't see, because I think sometimes, when we are, we see such.
Sorry, I seem to be losing you there, Gina. I seem to have lost you. It's frozen. If you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you?
Here we go. I've got you back. I've got you back. Yes.
Back. Yeah. Okay. All right. Amazing. So, sure. My train of thought. So I was just saying. So it looks glamorous from the outside. Everybody thinks, oh, because whoever so-and-so is doing it, I can do it. But they don't know that you're going to be in debt, homeless, people are going to, move away from you, or whatever the case may be. But now how do we ourselves as entrepreneurs, wherever we are, deal with the failures, the everyday failures, because we are the hardest working people. We don't sleep practically. We try so hard, and sometimes we can feel discouraged. Like, just talk to us just about that and that point.
Tina, the very first thing I need to unpack is, one, the choice of environment. Many of us do not have a choice as to where we grow up. Okay. So if you happen to be in a home that is unruly and there isn't peace, that's not a choice, right? And again, I said to you, we have the power to exercise choice. And I'll speak to those as to how you can exercise choice in places where you do not have a choice as to how you found yourself there. So that's the first thing. So in townships, neighborhoods, etc., there may be all this negativity that's happening, but we mustn't forget that in the spaces that we grew up, Abotlina come out from there. The previous speakers that you have come from those places. I come from those places, which means what we show off or showcase from our township is mainly negative things, and we don't give enough credit to good things that come out of townships, just like these products of people that you're speaking to, these amazing businesses and concepts that young Black people are dynamic and are unearthing out of our townships. So where am I going with this? The one who finds themselves currently in that space, it means you have a choice. Some of the people and the environments you find yourself in that space that we deem negative, believe it or not, there is a choice to also circle yourself with people who are positive in that same space. So it's about time, Dina, that a lot of young people who are like-minded, that's a key word, like-minded. It's why in my book, a lot of things I touch on is mindset, because it's certain mindsets that are like-minded that can achieve certain things in life. So start aligning yourself with like-minded people. I'll give you guys a very typical example. I'm a boy from the township, and I've always loved looking at those who do business the township way, if I may put it that way, because that's all we know. If a young Black person is going to emulate anything, they're going to emulate what they know. So the businesses we know in townships are your supermarkets, for example. It's your fruit and veggies. It's your food business, amakota, etc. That's all we are exposed to. If you don't have internet and other luxuries, that's what you're exposed to. So as a young person, how many times, if you say you want to get into business, have you actually gone around to just the businesses in your township to actually ask for mentorship from those who are already doing it? They don't have to be billionaires, but those who are already doing it. Because the first step in business is always about the doing. A lot of us just want to be billionaires, just want to be millionaires, but don't have those fundamental basics of getting up early in the morning, which a lot of people, that is the first place that they go wrong, just getting up early in the morning. I woke up 4 a.m. every morning because we had a disciplined father who did not allow anyone to sleep post 4 a.m. You know this, Tina. Till this day, I wake up 4 a.m. every single day. You know what that does? On average, I have 3 hours more to anybody else before the day starts. Before I would get into any business of mine, those who raised me would go, how are you expecting to have an impact in your company when you are the last to arrive? So be the first there. So these are some of the things that I'm speaking to. But again, in those same circumstances in townships, you also have a choice to also align yourself with people who are not necessarily within the environment that you're growing up in. That's where your social media comes in. Are you on social media simply to ukjola, good time? Or is it social media to really do groundbreaking stuff? It's what I've managed to do, and many of your guests have done over the years. Groundbreaking stuff, because remember what I said in the beginning, when you open your mouth, you tell people who you are. So the same applies for your social media page or profile. When you open your mouth, whether by typing, whether by the pictures you post, you are telling us every single day who you are. It shouldn't be difficult for people to know who you are by just merely getting onto your page. So the third thing to your question, Trina, that people who sit in disadvantaged backgrounds think that, how do I just get in there? We have this phenomenon of speaking about we assume that there are those who are inside and there are those who are outside. And most times we assume we are the ones who are on the outside. Guys, how life works is that that very door that you want to get into, and I'll go to my second book, Inspiration on the Go. It speaks about the fact that we as Africans need not be knocking on doors that were built, and many of us don't even know how it was built, for what purpose it was built. We need to be doorkeepers ourselves, which means the wood is there, the trees are there, God gave us. So we need to start establishing and building our own doors. By building our own doors, we then become key masters. By becoming key masters, you then are no longer screaming, hey, they've kept us outside. You are now the doorkeeper. You decide who comes in and who doesn't. That's the mindset we need to change, Brina. And by doing so, we will definitely get to the next level.
Yeah. Yo, Billy, we have to like go through the summit as quickly as we can. But I want to just ask you one final question. Before I do that, tell people where we can find you, where we can interact with you. How do we purchase your book as well?
Well, first thing I'd love to start off with is that there's two books I've got in my hand, and they speak about marketing. Lebu Lion spoke about, your one guest, Lion, spoke about, how important a marketing factor is. This is my sister's book. It's Tiffany's book, Tiffany Rochelle, and some of you guys can actually just hit her up, whether it's by Facebook, Google. She's easy to find. Tiffany Rochelle. It's called Dear Leader. So I wanted to just start with that book because we call these books twins. They were launched together on Sunday, and this is for anybody who finds it important to up their skills when it comes to leadership and having the correct knowledge to interpret what leadership is. And this book, Repurposed, I often say this is probably my best work so far because I poured out my heart here. It speaks about those who have experienced the pandemic. Here, ladies and gentlemen, I experienced the pandemic before the pandemic. I speak about how to overcome loss. So many young business or old business owners have lost, in whatever way, have had things repossessed in whatever way. This book gives practical tools of how to get out of those dark holes, how to also realize that you are blessed in your darkness, because nothing just happens by chance. So when you get these books, guys, it's Billy Guy Bembe, and also on Facebook, it's a Black Child It's Possible. Those are very simple. You can either Google or get onto social media. It's Billy Guy Nelson Bembe and Black Child It's Possible. And there's also a direct WhatsApp line that we've got. For the first time I realized you want to talk to us and you want to talk to us in real time. The number goes 082 345 1242. I'll repeat that again. The number, it's both WhatsApp. You can also call for bookings or anything, or the book. It's 082 345 1242.
Amazing. All righty. So my last question for you, my brother, and also before I actually ask you the last question, because it kind of sums everything up, Billy, I just want to acknowledge you just for the work that you're doing. People don't know that you have been out here on these streets for years talking inspiration.
11 years to be
DJ
correct.
School did the full word. 11 years.
11 years.
You've been speaking one language. 11 years, and you've been speaking one language. Your message hasn't changed. Inspiration. You've traveled. You've gone to prisons. You've taught leadership, schools, churches, all of that. So I just want to acknowledge you for a second for the work that you're doing, because I'm sure the lives of, ordinary young men and women like myself are actually being touched on a day-to-day basis. So thank you so much for that. And we are watching you keenly, and I can't wait. I'm excited about what God's going to do in your life. You are an inspiration to me, and I've kind of like hijacked you now. You're now my mentor as well. So I thank you for even opening up your heart and just your time and life to just to mentor somebody else. And so thank you so much for that. My last question for you then, Billy, is what is the legacy that you want to leave in this world?
The very simplest one, and I always talk about this around dinner tables with people, is that the day somebody, and not just one person, multiple people, start coming up and saying, oh my goodness, today we are celebrating our company's 100th birthday, and this is Black businesses. The day I can start hearing people saying this business is celebrating 100 years of establishment of a Black institution, that's when I know that we've done something. Because, ladies and gentlemen, China financially for its people planned 100 years ago that they would like to take on the world economically. 100 years ago, it means those people did not plan to sit under the tree that they were planting. It was for others. It was for another generation. So that's why I said right now that 100 years from now, from the work that we do, from the work that you do, Gina, and the speakers that have come on, because we are all linked to one purpose, to change the narrative of the African child's life. If we can get to a stage where years ahead, looking down, and we are hearing people go, yo, celebrate 100 years of existence of the third company, of Black Child It's Possible, then I know, Uchi, our impact will have changed generations forever. And I do thank you for this opportunity, Klena. Do not stop, do not grow weary. And all those who still want encouragement from us, please, I urge you guys, follow this young lady. She's, you know, if there was some kind of award, I'd say she's one of the 100 to look out for in Africa in the few years to come. I have faith in you, Klena. I have faith in the small business runway. And it's not easy. We know it, those who are working behind the scenes, it's not easy. And if people knew how much of yourself you take out in order to encourage and build them, then they'd appreciate more. So don't stop, have strength, and most importantly, Black Child, it is possible.
Black Child, it is possible. Oh, I love that, Billy. Thank you so much. I'm gonna let you go now so you can go off and go into your other meeting. But for everybody that wants to interact with Billy again, by the book Dear Leader and Repurpose, I'm gonna give you the WhatsApp line again. It is 082 345 1242. 082 345 1242. Be sure to follow Billy on all social media platforms. Black Child, it is possible. It's possible because we are here, we are breathing, we are doing this. So it definitely is possible. Thank you so much, Mark.
For your viewers, also, then tomorrow we are also live. So those who get onto my Facebook page, we've been invited to Ntate Patrice Motsepe's head office tomorrow. So we'll be broadcasting to all his mines across South Africa. Both myself, Tiffany Rachel, as well as another young speaker will be there doing some dynamic things. So do log on tomorrow from 10 o'clock until 12. And thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Billy. Woo! Wow, guys. So from one fire speaker to another, we've literally been on a roll here. And just like a leader, you guys won't even believe that Sylvester was here a good he literally was here about 15 minutes even before I wrapped up my conversation with Billy. So I am not going to waste any more time. I'm going to go straight into my conversation with Sylvester. Let's just welcome him in on the chat there. Hello. Sylvester, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. I can hear you very well now. Okay, so just like a true leader, you were here way before the time. You've already requested to join the meeting, and like this is I'm just like, yeah, no, we are chatting to the right person here, hey?
Well. You know, they say that it's important to show up and to show up properly and show up on time. So yes, I wouldn't do anything else.
Yeah. Okay, so Sylvester, I want to give you an introduction just before we get into our conversation. So for everybody, Sylvester Chauke is the owner and founder of DNA Brand Architects. Sylvester is a self-confessed Madonna crazy, multi-award winning entrepreneur. He has founded one of Africa's most innovative and highly awarded agencies, DNA Brand Architects, with the vision of bringing inspiration to the world through Africa. Sylvester collects accolades like Beyonce collects Grammys, and has done so through the award search spanning entrepreneurship, influence, creative, and agency. Sylvester is a current board member of the South African State Theatre. a World Economic Forum global shaper, and on numerous advisory councils. Sylvester has a unique approach that unpacks in his book, Stand Against Bland, which has set him up a powerful creative and marketing force. Sylvester reigns as a marketing maverick with a very colorful career. If charisma, creativity, determination, and tenacity were to be modeled into a physical human being, it would literally be Sylvester. So ladies and gentlemen, please help me give a warm welcome to Sylvester Chauke.
That was an amazing welcome. I was actually looking around saying, who are you talking about? But thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much for agreeing to have this chat with me. It has been years now, actually, in the making. I think I met you in 2019, and I want to tell people this because the story behind it is that I basically met you at another entrepreneurship conference. You were there as a speaker, and I literally just approached you and I said, listen, this is what I'm doing. At the time, I was inviting you to come to Gallagher Convention Center. I was having a exhibition there. And you so just openly and humbly said, no, it's fine. Just connect with, my executive assistant. She will assist you. That without asking for anything, you were not like, you didn't size me up and say, who's this? What have you done in the world? And I think your achievements and your success, for somebody that has managed to do that thing, you would expect that, there could be a little bit arrogant, which you've had good reason to, because you've seen a lot, you've done a lot. You've seen and done a lot, but you just remain so humble. Like, is it tough being Sylvester Chauke?
Well, I think, first of all, I'd like to just say thank you for this platform, and thank you for being a champion for small businesses. And I know that one of the things that I absolutely appreciated and loved about you from the very first day that I met you was that it was always about helping other small businesses, and in that way also help yourself. Because, in this red race of entrepreneurship, it's so easy to just look within and look at yourself as a business and as an entrepreneur, and how you're going to grow and manage your own small enterprise. But what I absolutely appreciated was the fact that you want to be able to build your enterprise while building and growing other enterprises. And so I want to just thank you so much, Tina, for the incredible hard work that you put forward to delivering this platform. And I know, as one person in the space, that it's not a very easy thing to do, knocking on doors, asking for support, asking for people to come and speak, but also getting the right kind of support across all areas that make something like this happen. So thank you to you. And I think you can give yourself a pat on the back for this really exciting platform. And I think at the moment, if we are being honest, small businesses are going through the most, and it is one of the toughest times that I've had as a business owner. It is one of the toughest times that my clients have, but our families have. And so if there was a time for us to get together as small businesses to talk about how we can help each other and grow, I think this is the perfect time to do so. And I really commend you, sister, for all of this.
Thank you.
So your question was, is it tough being Sylvester? Yes and no. I think that what's amazing for me is that I've always wanted to always be true to who I am as an entrepreneur, or who I am as a person, and that every time I show up as the true reflection of what I'm about. And so I don't think that's difficult for me, because this is just who I am. But yes, sometimes, like any other entrepreneur, we always ask ourselves questions, and we doubt ourselves a lot. We worry about the future. We worry about the money in the bank. We worry about whether we're going to get paid on time. We worry about whether we're going to be able to deliver. So there's always that other side that always pops up, and they're always on your shoulders, asking you whether, are you on the right track? Are you going? So that is a difficult part of being an entrepreneur, which I imagine every one of our entrepreneurs go through that. those moments where you're feeling low, you're not that inspired, you are concerned about money and people and projects and all of that stuff. And I think that can be tough, if you don't zone in on it and manage, because it can almost let you get into a space where you have a pity party about yourself. And I'm a very emotional entrepreneur, so I get very connected and I feel when, in a big way. So when I'm feeling challenged and sad, I feel challenged and sad, but I have to remind myself that I need to step out of this and be able to really push on. So it's not difficult being Sylvester, but I do acknowledge that it is difficult being an entrepreneur.
Yeah. And let's talk about now. So I watched a lot of your interviews now, because what I try to do with my guests is I want to give a unique perspective and angle to the conversations. I know a lot of people want to know, how do you make money? How do you do this? But for me, it's the person, and you speak about yourself as a brand communicator. So you don't like being called a PR specialist or a PR guru. You're a brand communicator. What's the difference, and why brand communicator?
I think the simplicity of what's happening in our world today has forced all of us to almost converge in the way that we show up and we communicate. And PR or advertising or internal communication or CRM, it's just one of the elements that are important in driving and building a brand. So how I see it is that if I'm only on just one piece of the pie, I'm going to lose out on the broader picture. And I think a broader picture is very important because, as you know, our customers are not just listening and reading articles in a newspaper. They're also on social media. They're also watching television. They're also driving in their car. They also, at a school event. They're also at a restaurant, at a shop. So our ability to know where they are and craft communication that helps them engage in those areas is then how I see it as an important part in how I communicate. So it's not just a one-sided or a silo approach to communication, but it's a broad approach to communication, because technology has made it all that much more easier, and in fact, sometimes very difficult, to ensure that we are able to connect in multiple spaces at once. Look at this, Zoom. Last year, you were at Gallagher. Now we are online, but we now can engage with people from all over the world and be able to build businesses in this way. So it's the same thing for us. The ability to be broad is going to be important as entrepreneurs. While we know we can specialize in certain key areas, but it's important to understand how it fits in. And I'd like to see myself as someone that likes to zoom out and see a bigger picture more than just being in a particular discipline.
Yeah. So are you chasing money at all, Sylvester? And there's a reason why I'm asking this. Are you chasing money at this point in your life, or is there a bigger purpose that you do the work?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Before starting DNA Brand Architects, I had never really seen myself as an entrepreneur. I knew I was going to be a businessman working in a business, but I didn't see myself as an entrepreneur, and I actually was very scared of it, and I really could not see myself transitioning from corporate into being an entrepreneur, because I had been working at agencies. I worked at Nando's, I worked at MTV, and I had a very good job and I had a good salary, and I think going into entrepreneurship, I actually had to leave all of that behind and really start from scratch to build something. So it was not about chasing money. In fact, if it was about chasing money, my previous job paid me more than what I earned at DNA for 7 years, and I think it was really, really interesting for me that we have to be able to go and do the things that we love, the things that we are good at, and then be able to make money from it. However, I have to say that if you are starting a business, you do need to be able to make money, because if you can't make money, then you don't have a business. If you don't make money, you can't pay your staff, you can't pay your suppliers, you can't add value to your community. So money in business is important, but do we chase it against all odds? No. We want to deliver products and services that allow us to make money. The chase is clients, and the chase is delivering value to the clientele that we have. And I think for me, that's been something that's quite important. And, you know, sometimes I look at entrepreneurs, you know, Gina, and I think, my God, some of these entrepreneurs are multi-billionaires, you know, they've got incredible deep pockets. And I always think, oh my God, and I'm not there. I'm not that person. I still have to like slog, and I still have to, you know, chase, you know, the smallest, you know, project in order to make them happen. But I think that that's always the challenge of an entrepreneur, is to look at where you are and look at what you want to do and want to create, and not be complicated by what other people show up as in terms of what they see as entrepreneurship. And nowadays, unfortunately, with social media, we are seeing a lot of people on private jets, expensive cars, beautiful homes, holidays, you know, and I think we see that as entrepreneurship, but it's so not that. And for those of us who've been in this game for a while, we know that, you know, the look and feel that you have on Instagram is actually not even a tenth of the real job of what being an entrepreneur is, and is about adding value. Do we need to make money? Yes. And do we need to ensure that we're not shy to say we need to make money? It's important. You need to make money out of this platform at some level so you can continue to grow. And our businesses needs to do the same thing. And I know, you know, it's a long way of just saying, yes, we need to chase, you know, the growth of our businesses and make money, but it's not, the reason for business is not just to make money. It's a byproduct of a service and a product that is allowed and loved by the consumers or the target audience.
Yeah. Now, Sylvester, we are small business owners, and I asked this to my previous, speaker as well. We talk about, okay, we need to make money, we need to run a business. Now, I need the practical of it all, because as a small business owner, as somebody who doesn't have, you know, influence, or I don't have 1,000, 2,000 followers, I don't have 10,000 followers, I don't have an audience, I don't have, you know, things that, you know, in the world that we live in now, the currency, you need to give value to these, you know, clients, these brands. How do I create then that value as a small business owner so that I can then be able to, you know, go to a bigger brand or a bigger organization and say, this is me, I can actually work with you?
That's a beautiful question, you know, and I think that for so many reasons. But first, it's important to remember that whether it's Facebook, whether it's Google, whether it's Coca-Cola, whether it's Barloworld, whether it's Pick and Pay, all these businesses started small at some level. You know, all these businesses started with nothing at some level. And I think it's important to remember that because we are small businesses today, it doesn't mean that we are always going to stay small. We are small today, but we're going to be big tomorrow. And I think I've always seen that as an encouragement for me, because I've always felt that the minute I forget that even the big businesses that are around me today started small, I take advantage, or I lose sight of the fact that this experience that I'm having as a small business is very, very, very important. I remember when I started DNA Brand Architects, I also was literally coming out of a corporate environment into an entrepreneur environment. And I absolutely needed to sell the business with nothing. You know, I didn't have any credentials, and I knew that I needed to build those credentials. So my point is that being small as we are right now as small businesses is part of a journey of our growth into growing. And part of that journey requires that we start small and then we build it up. So what we do need to do, in fact, what I believe very strongly, is that we need to do the things that small businesses do when they're small well, so that we set up the right foundations for us when we grow. because when we grow, then there will need to be some adjustments in terms of that. So do not underestimate that you've got less than 500 followers or 200 followers or 1,000. It's that number right now, but the issue is, how do you grow that right now so that it can become bigger? And that means on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, you focus on doing the basics of running a business well at a small level, so that even when you are at a medium level, you are able to really, really, fly, because you've set the right foundation. Let us not take light of the fact that a small business is still a very exciting part of building a business, because it's the humble beginnings that determine then how we grow going forward. But setting up those key foundations, for me, are important in you being able to grow. So if we look at ourselves and compare ourselves to bigger businesses, we lose the the actual necessary focus around the appreciation for the fact that our businesses are small. And I don't know if I'm making sense, but I think that ultimately, being small is part of a growing business, but it's what we do at this time while we are small that determines how we're going to grow going forward. And I think for me, is about, what are you selling, and do you have a market for what you're selling, and how do you sell it better than anyone else who is in that space and make money from it? And I think for me, those are the simple questions. Whether you are small, whether you are medium, whether you are large, that is going to be the fundamental key question to answer, because the sustainability of your business is really dependent on your product, your service, how differentiated it is on the market, and whether we have a market, for it. And I think that's incredible, and that's very, very important in driving any small business. I'm battling to hear you.
Hi, Sylvester. So apologies for that. Of course, with live and digital, something is bound to happen. But everything happens for a reason, of course. Listen, I missed you at the point where you were just explaining, our appreciation for where we are as small business owners.
Yes, and at that we must not take being small for granted, because it's part of growing, because every business will have to start small, whether we like it or not. But being small doesn't mean that we're going to be small forever. We go small for now and we grow tomorrow. And I was saying that for me, as a small business, you have to ask yourself very simple questions around, what are you selling, what product and service that that you want to put out to the market. How different is it? I think it's important for me to be clear about the differentiator of that product. Do you have a market for it? Is there a market for that, what you are selling? And then, of course, because ultimately the sustainability of that business is going to be quite important. And I think, and then how do you sell it better than anyone else that is in that space? I think that is going to be quite important. As a small business, I wouldn't worry about too many other things, because ultimately, because I think we fail a lot of times at early stages of our businesses, because we're not saying, is this product the best product? And is the service the best service? And if so, how do I sell it differently in the market? And do I have a market? In fact, or you can even do it the other way around. But ultimately is, if there's a market for your product or service, how do you connect it with the, how do you connect your product with the market? And I think that's quite important at a small level. Things that I struggled with, if I'm being honest, is that I actually had an interview when I started DNA in the very early stages with Ashraf Garda at SAFM, and Ashraf asked me a question to say, so what makes DNA different than any other brand agency in South Africa? Yeah. And I remember thinking, oh, okay, well, because it's about creativity, da 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 da. And then he said, but every business is saying that. What makes your business different? And I have to say, when I left that interview, I got home and I thought long and hard. I said, but geez, this business is not that different. So how do I need to make it different? What's going to be the differentiator? And spending time at that level of the business when it's still small, answering that question was the reason, or is the reason why I think we were able to deliver a differentiated business in the future. So I think that small business allow us to really sharpen, those questions, so that we are able to ensure that we are answering the right questions, so that if we're not able to answer them, we then are able to find the right answers or get to grips with understanding our differentiation.
Yeah. And I want to touch on these 3 points that you mentioned in one of your other interviews, because I thought it was so important. So you were asked the question, during COVID, what were you guys doing as DNA brand architects to basically survive? And you put it so eloquently. You said, number one, you were focused on teams. So you planned for your people, you had regular check-ins with them, and even when you were working from home. Number two, you said you need to look at the financial or the money aspect of your business, and then that is basically how much do you have, how much is owed, and how are you going to collect whatever is owed to you. And the third point that you mentioned is that don't disappear, which I thought, this is actually very interesting. Do regular check-in with your clients. Should we, what did you mention that, you ask your clients, is there anything that we can do for you? Just offer them something of value. And so I thought these were so important to mention. I don't know if those 3 have changed for you now, post, the hard lockdown or whatever not. But what else do you think you can add to that list of things that we can be doing instead of, feeling despondent, instead of feeling like, oh my gosh, it's COVID, I can't trade. It's not as usual.
I love this question. When the president announced the first 21-day lockdown, I remember sitting, on my desk, totally gobsmacked. I mean, I was really shocked by the fact that we are really going to have a hard lockdown. We're closing our businesses so we can manage the pandemic. And I must say, I was very anxious. I was worried. I was worried about my people. I was worried about my clients. I was worried about money. I was worried about how are we going to get through this period, and especially because we saw that the impact on the economy was going to be very severe, and we knew that that was going to be quite important. But I must say that something that was clear for me was that I knew that we needed to be prepared to go through the most, because it wasn't going to be business as usual. What we were used to getting was going to be cut in a significant way. And I absolutely understood that we need to get through this moment and feel the pinch and understand that after all of this, we are going to be better than where we were before. So it wasn't about going back to the way things used to be, but it was trying to understand that when we get back, we need to do things very differently as a business. And I think for me, I knew that it was going to be hard. And I was really stressed out because I didn't know how deep or how hard it was going to be and what was going to be the changes. So companies around me, all my clients were struggling with cash flow. And I was struggling with cash flow too. There was no growth because obviously people are cutting back. So the growth, it was all about survival. My clients were going through the same thing. Every company was going through the same thing. And therefore I was also going through the same thing as an entrepreneur. There was also a lot of readjustments of spend. So what we used to spend on certain things, we were no longer needing to spend that because we needed to spend it on others. So I knew that we need to cut back on what we're having in the office, drinks that we used to have, that nice to have things. We knew we had to cut back. We had to focus on necessary things to spend, not on nice to haves. We didn't know we don't have to have chocolates, at the office, for an example. And because of all the job losses and all the stuff that was happening around us, I knew that we needed to recalibrate as a business. And that's why the 3 key things that you focus on was quite important. So I wrote those key things on the board, and it was the people. How do we manage our teams right now in this period? And of course, money was going to be important. How much money do we have in the bank? How much money are we being owed? And how much potential do we still have? That was important for me. So cut back on unnecessary spend, focus on ensuring that you save as much as you can, but also that if you don't have to spend it, don't do it. And then of course, making sure that we are listening to our clients. Where are they? So I didn't want to disappear at the time. I'm making sure that you are working with your clients around that time to make sure that you understand what's happening in their world, because they also will cut back on certain things. You need to know that there are adjustments that are going to be affecting you. So you needed to know that. So for me, recovering of income was important. I knew that we're not going to be getting a lot of money in. So what we had to make sure that it lasts us much longer. Settlement of outstanding invoices or what you owe your people was important as well, so that you don't have a lot of your suppliers are looking for their money, and that at least during this period, you don't have a lot of that going on, because that is very stressful. And I think as an entrepreneur, that people calling in wanting their money is one of the worst things that you experience, because it feels horrible. And so making sure that those were settled for me was quite important. Focusing on cash management was important as well, because I knew that if we're just spending the money that we have, we're going to run out. And because we're not getting a lot of money in, we're going to be in trouble. Yeah. So having to be very frugal. Don't spend when it's not necessary. And for me personally, I knew I'm not going to be buying a new pair of techies, going shopping, buying things, doing things, because ultimately I needed to save as much as I could also on my personal income, right? And so it was important that I cut back. We had to cut back on a lot of things, and halting non-critical spend and non-critical expenses. It was very, very important, that focusing on managing your money and saving your money for critical spend only was going to be important, and spend, of course, as you get the money versus spending everything and hoping for the best. And I think that was quite key for me, because the money struggles during COVID is something that all entrepreneurs were going through, and all of us are still going through now, right? Because we still have to recover, and the conversation about recovery is going to be quite important, but it's so necessary for us to do so.
Yeah. While we're on that, what do you think it is that we should be doing to be able to, revitalize, recover, reconfigure the small business economy?
Yes, I think if we've learned anything during COVID, and I'll speak as a sample of one just for myself, I have had some amazing learnings too about the strength and the weaknesses of my business. I've been able to see that there are certain things that we do that are not necessary. There are certain things that we do that we could do better, that we could do more efficiently. And I think I've learned that ultimately during this period, look at your product and your service and ask yourself whether are we serving it in the best possible way? And I've been able to look at areas we can cut back. So you have to look at this time and say, what can you do currently to cut back on unnecessary expenditure and wastage? I think that was quite important for me. And I would say, number one, just look at your business and ask yourself, what can I cut back that is not necessary? And I think it took COVID for me to realize that, there's so much wastage that we also have been participating in over the last couple of years, that we could save a lot of money if we just cut back some certain, some things. And I think that was quite helpful for me to look at what is critical, what is mission critical, and what is not mission critical. So I did a list of what I felt was critical for us to deliver our service and what was not critical. And I cut back on the things that were not critical. Some things were sad to cut back, but some things were important that we do cut back, So it was quite important for me at that level to be that basic. That was number one. Number two, I also looked at the risks, because sometimes I realized that most of our businesses will run from hand to mouth. And I think we all know. You wait for money to come in and then you pay out, right? And because it's a small business, it's very volatile, and cash flow is incredibly important. And I think for me, negotiation of terms of payments was very important as well, because as small businesses, normally what we do, we sacrifice ourselves to pay suppliers upfront, for an example. and then wait for the money to come back in from clients in my business, for an example, because of the service nature of the business. But the negotiation for the terms was important. So we had to call all our suppliers and renegotiate the terms of payment, because we were not able to cover all our payments with the current terms, because things were no longer quite the same. We had to call our landlord and ask for a reduction in rent, and or giving us time to pay, later, or to manage a payment, system. So all those key things. Who can you call today to help you with your with your payment terms, to ensure that it's to ensure that it's more favorable for you? And then lastly, what I felt was quite important as well was the top line growth. So I knew that I had to, as a leader of the business, as an entrepreneur, you also need to look at where do you get new business, because I think you can't just look at survival based on your current businesses, because in my instance, in our business, we had a couple of clients who also cut back a lot of money. So we lost a lot of income because of, people or businesses were also affected negatively. So I also had to focus on where else can we get money? What else can we do that can help us to be able to get incremental value back into the business? So we started doing other things that we were not doing in the past to ensure that we are able to bring in some new income. And like I said, to the 3 points that you mentioned, staying in front of my clients all the time and asking them, how can I help? How can I help? How can I help? Where can I help you? What can I do for you? How can I make things easier? I think that question also helped us a lot, because we were able to get clients who said, oh, you can help me with this, all that, so that we are able to keep income flowing into the business. And then I also think it's important, I know we have run out of time, but I think it's also important to also say that as an entrepreneur, I also had to strengthen my motivation and my faith, because it's hard. All you are hearing about is the fact that businesses are closing down around me. All you are hearing is that there are a couple of challenges that you are seeing in all your clients, in your teams, and morale is down, people are unhappy, people are losing families left, right, and center because of the disease. And I think all of this needed a stronger entrepreneur. So my shoulders had to grow even stronger as well. So being able to make sure that I was checking in, I was praying more than I was ever praying before. I was reading motivational books and motivational videos, because it was important to strengthen myself as an entrepreneur as well. We need to be stronger, during this time. Wherever you get your inspiration, go to that space. And also remember that it's an important part of an entrepreneur is to have that clarity of mind, that motivation, even when things are tough. And I think for me, it helped me a lot to go down into that corner and cry if I need to, pray if I need to, read things if I need to, because I knew that I needed to step up and face my team and support them after all of that, because it was important. This has been a difficult time for entrepreneurs because it's been heavy, and it's emotional, and it's draining, and it's painful. And because of that, it makes it even more difficult to step out. But I think for me, speaking to my friends and my family, and mentors and everyone that could just help me to navigate this time has been very, very helpful. It doesn't give me the money immediately, but it gives me the strength and the energy to keep pushing.
Keep pushing. All right, so we have run out of time, Sylvester. 2 more questions, if you'll just allow me, because I think this is important. I see that you read a lot. I assume that because obviously I've seen the different books, and I've seen your library of books. I mean, it's a huge collection. And do you think that's at all, does your reading and your openness for knowledge and information, do you think that has set you apart as an entrepreneur? Has it helped you at all in your entrepreneurial journey?
Yes, it has. It's helped me. I think the thirst for knowing more and for learning things I don't know has helped me, without a doubt, to be an entrepreneur that I think I am today. And I'll tell you a very good example, a practical example. When the president said we go on lockdown, I woke up the next morning, I thought, sure, what do we do now? And luckily, there was a lot of webinars and seminars and books and reading that was available to learn about how other businesses, how other people have done it in other parts of the country, part of the world, etc. So I got onto that and I learned and I joined BCG groups, listening to other entrepreneurs who are saying and learning and explaining their experience. McKinsey had also these incredible seminars and journals, coming out. And so I was reading a lot of those things, and a lot of how I've managed to manage the challenge that we had at DNA was because of this, a lot of the stuff that I read, because I read, oh, this is amazing, this can work for me, that can work for me, that can't work for me, that works, that doesn't work, that doesn't work. And I think from that, I picked what I thought was important, and that helped me to then have my plan. So reading is fundamental, because and it's not about reading books just for the sake of it. There are some books that, sometimes you also want to just escape. So you're reading a book about a young man growing up in the township and how they managed to grow, something different. It's not all business. Sometimes it just takes you into a space, it inspires you, and you learn about tenacity, about not giving up. You learn about, I guess, the importance of laughter, the importance of family, and all those key things. So reading for me is important. It inspires me, and it allows me to travel. But also reading the newspaper, what's happening in other businesses. What's happening at ESCOM? How is that going to affect me? What's happening at SARS? How is that going to affect me? So I always take it back to how is it going to affect me? And I think reading, and it doesn't have to be that you're reading a book every day, but you can read a book for 3 months. It doesn't matter. But the point is that you want to learn from others, and you want to listen to other people's stories. Then they help you to navigate your world.
Yes. Okay, so where can these guys find you? Where can they hang out with you, see the work that you do, and just hang out with you in the social media streets?
Yes, I'm obviously everywhere. I'm very chacharach as an entrepreneur. So you can find me on Instagram, you can find me on Twitter, you can find me on LinkedIn, you can find me on Facebook. I even have a TikTok account. So yeah. I think for me, it's nowadays, obviously, as a basic, I'm available on all those platforms, at Sylvester Chauke, across all those platforms. And I really think that for me, the network is important, and the network of young entrepreneurs, particularly young Black entrepreneurs, it's important that we continue to grow it, and we can learn a lot from each other. I learn from leaders who have who have gone way before me, and I look at them and I read about them and I listen to them, and I learn a lot from them just by listening. And I don't have to be sitting with them in a room to learn from them. I can learn from them by what they say, what they write, what they what they put out. And I think if we can all do that, we will all learn and we all grow, and it's a beautiful place to be.
Beautiful place. Yeah, it is a beautiful place indeed. Sylvester, last question. I promise it's the last one now before I let you go. I know you're busy. We hit well over 15 minutes, which is also thank you for just staying longer with us. But last question, what is the legacy that you want to have?
Honestly speaking, for me, if someone else can be looking at what I do and think that inspires me, and get them to do something that they have never done before, that get them to get up and start a business or introduce something new in their business, I think that's more than enough. The truth is, I am just a student of life, learning how to make this life worthwhile for me. And if someone else can see and look at a page in my book and feel inspired, I think that's a legacy that is beyond awesome. Because ultimately for me, it's about making sure that the purpose I have, which is to do what I do, and to live the life that I live, is what I'm committed to. And ultimately, if someone else can see and feel that and feel inspiration from it and feel movement from it and touch them somehow, I think that is more than enough of a gift. But ultimately, I want to be known for whatever that can be done, especially as young Black entrepreneurs, that it can be done and that it will be done and that we are never going to stop until we get to live the purpose that we are all born to, to live. And that's as simple as I can, as simple as I can say, because ultimately there's nothing more. I just want to live my best life and inspire others to live their best life through seeing what I do.
Yeah. And I think you're doing an absolutely amazing job at that. So Sylvester, we are watching you very, very keenly. Everybody go follow Sylvester on all social media platforms. He really is, somebody that you want to look out for and learn from. And so Sylvester, thank you so much for all the work that you do and also for spending the time with us today. I really, really appreciate it.
It's an honor, and thank you so much, everyone. And I must say that, we will get through this post-COVID moment. We will recover, we will survive, we will be back at it because we have no choice but to hang on and stay strong.
Yes, absolutely. All righty, thank you so much, Sylvester. I'm gonna let him go, but salute to you, King, for joining us today. Woo, it has been an absolutely amazing marathon, just speaking to the greats, what I call the black diamonds of business in South Africa. I literally curate my summits and my talks and my events so that I can actually bring people that I know will bring value from their experience, from their life, and from their journey. So I hope it's been an absolutely amazing one for you guys today. I'm going to try and see if there are any comments from you guys quickly before we actually wrap up. We are obviously, out of time. But it's always nice to see what people have to say and just to respond to people so that we can keep the interaction going. Sylvester is amazing. Somebody says, thumbs up, Small Business Runway. The sky is the limit. Keep pushing. We definitely will. I appreciate it. The GOAT. Yes, he is the GOAT. Fundisa Mashabane. Patricia Likalakala says, thanks. Guys, thank you so much for joining. Everybody that has taken the time to send us a message, to post it on social media, to share it with a friend, we really appreciate it. There is absolutely one common thread with entrepreneurs that we had today, and that is definiteness of purpose. They are so clear on the purpose, they're so clear on the work that they have to do, but also they are clear about the mindset. And so just if there's anything that you have taken from the summit today, really, in fact, for me, is mindset and just a clarity of purpose. And so thank you to everybody that has joined us. I'm Kanama Tansala. For those of you guys that don't know me, I am a business builder. I teach, I speak, and I train small businesses with practical tips and tools to grow their business. I have got a t-shirt brand called Business Bay. In trying to put things together, sometimes the t-shirt is too far for me to grab right now. But for everybody that needs to follow me, I also am at on all social media platforms at Small Business Runway. Let's continue the conversation. Let's continue to have the conversations, even if it's one at a time, the networks, the events that will bring entrepreneurs and small businesses closer to their purpose and small businesses closer to their dream. Our mission and purpose with the show and the business that we do is to put power and money in the hands of minority business owners. All right, so that's us, young people, Black people. We're all about that. Thank you so much to everybody that has joined us. It's been absolutely amazing. Technical glitches here and there, but we powered through, and there's so much more that we're going to do. I can't wait to be able to meet with you guys face to face with the in-person events. And so look out for all the information about that. It is level 1 in South Africa at the moment. And so we are feeling I'm feeling really optimistic about it. So for everybody that needs to connect with any of my guests, I will definitely sort of put a whole description about everybody's profile there. Then you can just go and follow them. But otherwise, from me to you guys, it's nothing but love. Salute.